Hey folks, AJ the CEO here. We are at Shiloh Baptist Church here in Ashland, Virginia. We've been here originally well before the beginning of COVID to help them out multiple times, but now they're looking at moving everything from their fellowship hall back into their sanctuary, and they want to take the same tech and implement it here in the sanctuary. So I am here taking a look around, and it's always interesting to come. And I don't know if I have the original videos when I was here before, but looking at enhancing what they had here, and they were using it. They still were using the ATEM Mini over on the other side, and just looking at what we can do to expand and add the functionality here inside of their main sanctuary. So first off, they already have two TVs. You know, we're not going to be trying to gut everything, but they already have some lines. See, I can't remember if I ran those lines or not. But what we're going to do is try and just daisy chain, and, well, not daisy chain, just link up to that stuff there. So the main thing is we're going to probably go with an ATEM Mini Extreme because they're already using the ATEM right now. They're using the original ATEM Mini. And that will give them the leverage of doing live streaming here. That will handle everything. We'll connect to the board using the tape out to bring in audio here, and then maybe get another screen for the multi-view, and then it all depends if they want to do a stage display. Most likely from a camera standpoint, probably do PTZs. Now we have the pillars here in the middle that cause a little bit of an issue, but maybe having them, yeah, that's going to be a unique type of scenario to try and handle. Maybe definitely going to put some cameras on the sides to get past this part. And I think originally there was a camera right up front, but I just don't know how that's going to work. And so this is going to be really unique compared to how we've done it before. So most likely side shots. A front one would work, but even if we did like a stationary camera back here, we still have these pillars that we have to get around. But let me talk with some other folks here, and then we'll take you back for a talk through of what the plan is going to be for this. All right, so right now, because of this distance, it looks like they have a Mevo that's right here. Now, I mean, technically, you can probably get away with having a stationary camera here running over HDMI or SDI that could be connected to the ATEM. So a PTZ necessarily wouldn't be needed since this would be a straight-on shot. And then you see here, they have some original cameras here to the side that are using a BNC connector, but not sure if that would be appropriate for sending 1080p off of that. But you can see they already had a side shot to compensate for the pillars. But we'll see what else we can do. And then all of the TVs are connected over a cable. That does look like some of my earlier work, but I cannot tell. And honestly, I don't remember. I don't recall hanging a TV up here like that. So now I'm definitely going to be in front of my computer to do a design of this, but I don't really think a lot is going to be needed for this. Mainly, I mean, we're going to need to do a lift or maybe run the cables down the pillar, a white cable, run it all the way back, and then up into the booth, and run a conduit in the back, which I don't know if that will be an issue or not, but that will avoid having to get a lift and go up in the ceilings. But as long as the TV support 1080p, I'm thinking an ATEM Mini Extreme, obviously, so we can have a multi-view and have controls out. I thought we did internet over here, but we would have to revisit it, but run a hardline connection back there. Maybe put a static camera there. You never know. Might be able to do one of the Makos cameras because it won't be moved, but it all depends. Even if we did do a PTZ, I'm thinking maybe a 10X. Don't really have to do a lot of motion, but then at the same time, it could turn over and get the sides of the musicians if need be, or any of the pews. And then replace that side camera with a PTZ, and then maybe one more here in the front. And then we're running off a connection off of the sound, and that's mainly it. We just need to see about the distribution of how the TVs are done, but I think this should be really straightforward, especially if they're not trying to add any new TVs. But even if we did a new TV, we could add something in the back. It's going to be real difficult to go with anything larger just based off of the space. But I think that is very much doable, and I'm just gonna chase these white cables over here to see if that goes to what type of distribution that is. I'm trying to remember. Just been blessed to do a lot of these that it actually is becoming forgetting what stuff was and was not done, or what stuff I did. So we got a white cable. Okay, that might be me. Because right there is an HDMI to SDI converter. So if we had an ATEM, all we would do have to connect to that, and we would just use the existing cable runs. So a lot of the work outside of putting the cameras and maybe Ethernet and stuff like that would be the only thing that really needs to be done. And again, just need to verify the internet connection up here. And again, we also could put in a custom PC that doesn't have to be super powerful, but that can handle scripture and lyrics, but then be a failover for Zoom. Will be the bridge for a Zoom connection, conference call connection, and a failover if anything happened to where it could live stream or use to live stream to a different platform. So let me go ahead and talk to some folks here, and then we're going to cut back over the computer. So we just designed this thing so you can see what everything is. So let's go. Alrighty, folks, we are back. So let's go ahead and get into Draw.io, and let's go ahead and design this setup for Shiloh Baptist Church. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and mark this. Now, I'm going to do two of these. This is going to be for the Annex, which is basically where they're at right now. And then we're going to make another one for their sanctuary. All right, so right now, they have 3 televisions. One in the center, one to the left and the right, and they're all mimicking the outer ones are mimicking each other, but let's go ahead and just finish designing everything else. They have a computer that we upgraded quite a while ago. They have a laptop. And this is actually, I'm jumping ahead of myself. They also have an ATEM Mini, the original. Trying to get some space here. All right. And they have 2 cameras. One is suspended from the ceiling, and then another one is on the back on the side. So I don't think the one on the side is there, but I'm just going to leave it there anyway. They do have a 32 channel mixer in the front, and it is an analog mixer. And I'm not going to talk about their speakers and all this other stuff because that's not that important. So the way they have this is they actually have a 1x2 HDMI splitter, and I'm aware of that because I've ran the cables in the ceiling, which was so much fun. All right, so this is how this is set up. The ATEM Mini, since it's the base, it does not do any form of streaming. So that is connected to the PC over USB. We have the mixer connection coming into the ATEM for audio, and I'll do purple for that one. The laptop is connected over HDMI. I believe, actually, let me stand corrected. I think that is actually going directly to the center TV. And the HDMI output from the ATEM is going to that splitter, which then feeds the two left and right televisions so that they will show the connection from the camera that is in the back. And the computer is handling the live stream. Now, what do we propose to do in this scenario? So the first thing I propose on doing, and maybe I should save this as a before. And then we'll also save this as after. All right, so now for the after, I propose on changing this to an ATEM Mini Pro. Now, we could go with the Extreme as well, too, but they're not going to add a lot of cameras in this type of setup, and it's only one camera. So not really concerned about having a multi-view. This will always be the output. So now, instead of the computer handling the live stream, the ATEM will handle the live stream. We're going to do away with the laptop that's going to that. And now the computer that was originally handling the live stream is going to be running the presentation software that will have two outputs. One will go directly to the center screen, and then the other will go directly into the ATEM that will be for like lower thirds. So I'll say, just call that DSK. And then this is full screen. Now, I believe they're using Presenter, but depending, I don't know if they're using the paid version. If they are, this will be fine. If not, they are either going to have to go for the monthly or recommend them going with Pro Presenter so that it can do this output. I would add a graphics card inside. This system will be upgraded most likely to pretty much gut the entire system, mainly probably keep the hard drives, but I think when I did that system, that was going with a Ryzen 5 3400G, but we're going to bump that up to a 5600G for more power, and or possibly if I can get a decent GPU that is reasonably priced, I may just get an internal GPU that can have multiple outs to handle that. All of the TV stuff does not need to be touched at all. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is get rid of the camera, the DSLR camera that's hanging in the ceiling. And why? Oh, I grabbed the wrong icon. DSLR, if I can spit it out and say it, I would remove that and put a PTZ, a 20X PTZ, and we would run we also need a joystick. That will now sit up here in this area, and it will give them way more control than having to get a ladder and turn the system on and off. We are going to get a PoE switch. Doesn't have to be a big one, maybe just a 5-port one. So now that will provide power to the joystick, and that will provide power to the PTZ. And we might as well just use that to also be the hub for all of the connections for every other device that needs internet access in the Annex. Scoot all this stuff down so we got some more room. And that's it. We're going to still utilize all of the cables. The only other cable we have to run, and I've been in the ceiling, so the only other cable we got to run is an Ethernet cable. Now they also, actually, let me take that back. I misspoke. We also need to run another cable here. I'm going to do a HDMI to SDI and SDI to HDMI for this. Again, thinking in the future, we're going to run another cable so that when we are in the sanctuary and if there's an overflow, we could easily just connect this stuff here, which would also require us to have a feed that comes directly into one of the mixer. So that'll be another connection that's coming back from the sanctuary or something like that. Do I have a building icon in here? Oh, cool. Do they have a church one? No, of course not. All right, so I'll just say use this as the sanctuary. Hopefully I'll get the point. And then we'll have a feed coming here and then another one that goes directly here for audio. So XLR cable, whatever, if we can find a route to get over there. So that'll be audio, video, or I could just run everything over SDI and split the audio out. We kind of did the same thing in First Union, but that's what we have for the Annex. Really nothing major that we have to do that is very problematic. The most we would have to do is run an Ethernet cable just to that camera, pull the DSLR down and move the PTZ up closer to the pulpit so we can do 360 around. So the camera will be in the exact center of the room. Add a joystick, switch out the Mini to the Pro so it can handle the streaming. And they said the main issue that they have is they're having some audio stuff. So we're going to just help them tweak the audio so we can get that up and running and just give the computer a little bit more power so it can handle the graphics and stuff like that. So it doesn't have to have, we're just going to condense everything. There's no need to have a laptop and a computer there when we can just beef up the computer and it can handle both. And with the computer, if they want to do Zoom, that can handle the audio conference call. The computer can handle that as well too. More than enough power. And if you wanted to, we can bring up OBS on there as long as their internet is fast enough and go to a different platform. The computer will live stream to one, the A10 Mini Pro will live stream to another, or they can sign up for Restream. You know, I like to give options that doesn't cost any additional money. All right, so let's save that. And that is the Annex. Now for their sanctuary. This is going to be a little different. Still not a lot of work. Well, not a lot of work, but they are insistent on running cables in the ceiling, which are pretty high. So I'm going to have to get a lift to secure these cables. So in the front, they have TVs already, and they are running to a HDMI to SDI splitter. I believe I did that originally, or it might have been done before. I honestly don't remember. So that's in the back already, which would mean that each one of these has a SDI to HDMI on the back of the TV already. So again, we don't have to touch this. Thank God, because it's already there. Let's run the other one here. So that's already established. What we're going to do is add an A10 Mini Extreme here. Because again, all the equipment that was in the Annex, they moved, came from the sanctuary. So we're not going to touch that. We don't want anything to move. But the reason why we're changing the stuff the way we are is so that the skill set that's used in the Annex is the exact same thing that goes over to the sanctuary. So if they go back and forth, nothing really has to change from a skill set standpoint. All right, so we got that. HDMI number 1 is now going to feed that. So the TVs will have whatever in the ATEM, whether we want to have it see the cameras or have it locked to the a given input that's going there. We're going to build a new computer, almost going to be exactly the same that we upgrade in the Annex. which will save on a cost standpoint. This will run nothing but the presentation software. So presentation PC. So if we go with ProPresenter, we're going to do 2 licenses or maybe a site license so they can have both in both sides. And those pillars are going to be an issue. So how we're going to handle that, we're going to put maybe a 3X or a 10X PTZ in the front, because it doesn't have to move that much. And because of the pillar, it's only going to be able to do 180 degrees. All right. But then we're going to add another one over here to the side, and that would be a standard 20X PTZ that can get pretty much everything else. Maybe one in the front if they were doing weddings or something like that in the front, or worst case scenario, at least run the wires there so that in the future it would be easy. So I'll put this in the front, and we're going to do fiber HDMI cables, so that makes it easy. We'll connect that here, run this up the wall. Or actually, I might not even do that because there's already some cables here. I don't know if they're rated for 1080p 60. If they do, we just have to use a converter to convert it from SDI to HDMI. So that is possibly an option here, maybe. Why did it do that? So possibly this. So that'll be SDI path or HDMI. It all depends. We're going to test the SDI first, because then we don't have to run any extra cable. You know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that because we got to run cables anyway to get here. So we might as well just do the same thing. So that'll be fiber HDMI as well. We have our PoE switch over here. That's going to be live back here. And even if we don't run it, put a camera in the front, we're going to run the cables there anyway. So if it needs to be done, we already got everything in place. All right. And of course, we need a joystick. We're going to put maybe a 24 or a 27 inch monitor here for our multi-view. And maybe I should put this over here so we can see a little bit better. That's our multi-view. And what else? What else? What else? All right, I didn't run the connections to here. So let's connect everything up for our internet. All right, so I think that's everything. All right, now that's just from a camera standpoint. That's pretty straightforward. Now, the other thing we're going to also do is they want to get rid of the board because they said they've had so many issues with that. So we're going to go with an X32 compact, and we're not going to go with a Snake because I already told them that those are heavily back ordered. They already have a Snake on the floor that's connected. This is an old Behringer mixer that they have, so it's only 8 channels. So don't really have to worry about much with that. So we're just going to take what they have, plug it into this, and then we're going to run. I'm actually changing how I'm doing this now too. I'm actually going to do a dual and actually, not that I haven't done this, I'm going to start doing this more as a preference now, but I'm going to use a dual XLR to 3.5 millimeter. That way I can easily do a left and right for my stuff out. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I've been having a lot of issues where it's been grounding issues and noise and stuff like that. And every time when I've moved it to XLR, I haven't had that issue. So I'm going to do that for right now. All the other mics are going to be connected the same way. And then the X32 will also be connected to the network to get some extra functionality. And somebody is driving super fast in the neighborhood. Let's do that again. All right, and that's it. This will allow, they have an old snake, so that's how everything is going to be plugged directly into this. But I told them in the future, and you never know, I might even just run a Ethercon connection up to the front. So if the S16s become available and they want to add more channels, they're available. We've done that at a bunch of other ministries. We do this mainly to prepare for the future. Now, another thing that's possible is to add a back display for a stage display, and this will be a direct connection to the computer for ProPresenter, so that they have some more options, just like how we're doing in the Annex. The idea is we want it to be the exact same skill set. So that's what we're going to do, and that's what I'm going to propose to them. They said they're ready to move on something quick after it gets approved by the board, yay, nay. This may be that we do it all in one fell swoop. It may be that we do it in phases, and that's why I did it in these two layers. Now, honestly, I think doing both at the same time will be easy, because outside of the ATEM and the mixer, almost everything is exactly the same. So link is down below to every single thing I'm going to use in this install. And you know, if we get the contract, we're going to take you along to show you the beginning to the end through the whole process of what we do to help modernize this ministry. So if you like this type of content, appreciate a like, consider subscribing, hit that bell. That way you get notified when we come out with other videos to help modernize your media ministry. Thanks for watching, folks. This is AJ, and we'll catch you on the next video. Later.